What is up, guys, and welcome back to another video. We got another fishing cheater scandal video for you guys. This man had a cooler and a bubbler in his freaking truck. You guys are going to want to stay tuned. Do me a favor, guys, smash the subscribe button, hit the like button. I make fresh new content every single week. But alright, guys, let's get into this. Alright, guys, so this happened a while back. This angler's name is Cedric Jerome Perry. He was 31 years old. He decided that he was going to start fishing some local tournaments, some local bass tournaments, and he wanted to win. Right off the rip, this man started winning pretty much everything he fished, and people were growing more and more suspicious, because who just randomly starts fishing tournaments and wins all of them? Even if you're like the best angler in the world, you're not going to win every single freaking tournament that you fish. It's just not going to happen. So naturally, people were getting suspicious about old Cedric. So basically, some of the wildlife officers started receiving tips. It's cool that these wildlife officers take this stuff seriously, because there's a lot of whiny people out there who just can't win, and they just assume people are cheating because they basically just suck at fishing. But in this case, this guy was cheating, and they tipped off the officers, and they actually investigated it. They actually investigated it pretty thoroughly. They surveillanced him for several months as he fished several different tournaments. The first tournament that they were surveilling him at, they noticed that he didn't freaking catch much. He didn't catch much of anything, a couple really small fish. But then when he comes to the weigh-in, he had a freaking he had an 8 and a 9 pound bass with him. So this man, they watched him the whole time. He didn't catch nothing. Shows up with an 8 and a 9 pounder. If you catch an 8 and a 9 pounder at the same tournament during the same day, like, that's freaking crazy. It doesn't happen very often. You don't see like the best pros doing that very often. It does happen, but it is very, very freaking rare. So obviously that's going to raise more suspicion, but they already were watching him. He had his 5 fish limit. A lot of the other guys didn't even have limits. He wins the tournament. He gets the money, and they let him get away with it. They let him get away with this one because they wanted to watch him more and see how more often he was cheating, and they didn't know exactly how he had those big bass yet, because they didn't see him catch them, but they also didn't see where he got them from. So they decided to lay low and continue to surveil him. So just a week later, just a week after that tournament, they were surveilling him again. They had people watching him, and they had people watching his truck, and they noticed something in the truck, guys. They noticed that there was a cooler on the front passenger seat, and they also heard aerator noises. They heard like a bubbler, basically. It must have been a small cooler if it's just sitting in the front seat. Like, that's kind of crazy. He's got those fish crammed in there with an aerator, but obviously he doesn't care. He's just trying to win. So at that weigh-in, the officers approached him and started to question him about the fish. During the investigation, they discovered that Perry didn't even have a valid fishing license, and he had additional fish on the boat. So this man was over the limit, and he didn't even have a fishing license. So how are you going to cheat? You don't even have your freaking fishing license. That's crazy. Right there actually get you DQ'd. If for one, having over the limits probably get you DQ'd. But if you don't have your fishing license, then you're automatically DQ'd from the tournament too. That's usually almost in every freaking tournament rule. And just like all these other freaking cheaters, guys, once they start getting questioned hard, like once someone actually confronts these guys and questions them, they almost always freaking cave. He caves, and he admits that he was taking the fish from other lakes and ponds and bringing them to the tournaments. He was ultimately arrested and charged with fraud, grand theft, fishing without a license, and bag limit violation. So basically like fishing over, like having over the limit on board. Grand theft. So they must have got him. They must have got him for all the other ones too. They must have got him for several, because I believe that these were just local tournaments. This actually all took place on the Suwannee River in Dixie County, Florida. And yeah, they got him for grand theft. I wonder how much time do you do for grand theft? I gotta look that up, because this article wasn't telling me that. Okay, so if it's a misdemeanor, it's only up to a year in jail. But felony convictions can be 5 to 20 years or more. I thought grand theft was only a felony. I didn't realize that it could be a misdemeanor. Probably the same thing with fraud. What's crazy about all these freaking cheaters, guys, all these cheaters, like, there's a huge, like, there's so much information about it when they first get caught, and then, like, when they're arrested and all that, but then there's nothing after that. And that's what's going on with the walleye cheaters recently. Nobody has heard anything about Jake Runyon and Chase Cominsky in weeks. They should have already had another hearing. They should have had several hearings, actually, and no one's heard anything. It is so crazy how this stuff just kind of gets brushed under the rug, and that's what I'm finding with all these other cheaters in the past. They get charged, they're arrested, and then you hear nothing else, and they disappear off the face of the earth. It is almost like that they're in like witness protection. They probably rat on some other people. Makes me think that there is like a huge underground tournament cheater ring going on. And some of my other videos touched on that, and it is just wowed because it seems like these guys get away with it. You don't hear anything about. You just never hear about them again. It's like they're put in witness protection. I don't know what else to say about it. And that seems like that's what's going on with Chase Cominsky and Jake Runyon. It is crazy how every day there is an update from the media and all over social media, and then all of a sudden it just stops. And that is a pattern. Every single one of these guys that I dive into, that's exactly what happens. You never hear from them ever again, and you never hear about whether they're sentenced or not. And it's very suspicious, guys. Comment below, let me know what you think about all of that. Definitely gets you thinking, definitely gets you wondering. And I want to know. So if anybody knows what has happened to any of these cheaters, including the recent one, let me know, guys. Comment below. We all just want to know. I'm going to keep trying to cover this stuff. I'm going to keep trying to come up with more. I'm going to dig a little deeper. I'm going to see if I can find anything on the most recent scandal. But yeah, it's been crickets, guys. It's been crickets. But alright, guys, that is all I have for you. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, please smash the subscribe button, hit the like button, and I'll see you next time.